And we are live, Tulia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. And you?
I'm doing fantastic. Ready for the weekend, but I have so much, I guess, a good problem to have. A lot of work I need to be working on Saturday and Sunday. And we're always, as you know, trying to add value to the English speaking international community here in Barcelona. I do a lot of work with tech startups and entrepreneurialism. I've been a mentor with the Professional Women's Network for a while. And it's always fantastic to see all the fascinating ideas and things that people are doing and all the, I guess, inspiration that exists for cool stuff. And I've known you for a while. Tulia, I want to make sure that I introduce you correctly, but given your role as a professional public speaker, I think I'm going to switch and let you do that and introduce yourself, if you don't mind, for a quick 30 seconds or so.
Okay, I think this is one of the most difficult tasks is to introduce oneself, but I do my best. I call myself the communication architect, and that title was given to me from a friend, but the fact it comes from my background as an architect, and it fits very well with everything I do and the way I think. I consider myself a very creative, but I'm also very structured, which comes from my training as an architect. So combined with this, I use all these learnings and all this experience as an architect, because I had that experience, to my teaching as communication trainer and coach. And from all these experiences, exploring, being creative, being curious, I am where I am right now. It is what we are going to discuss today. I'm not going to give all my background because it's a long story. I'm a woman with a long journey, have been around for a long time. So I'm very happy if your audience wants to get direct to me, and then we can have this conversation. But for now, just see me as a communication architect who is now so curious who is so curious that got into this new adventure of building an app.
Okay, well, let's just jump right into it. Tulia, what inspired you to create SpeakProApp, and what is it exactly?
It was a very interesting thing. And I always say that you cannot have creativity or inspiration on demand. They just come in the most unusual places. I was already exploring and reading about everything that's happening with AI. I started using ChatGPT late 2023. And in my exploration, I was already thinking at the back of my mind, how can I bring this to the work I'm doing? How can I bring this technology to help my clients, to serve them better, and to work better myself? And I always have this, if you read my profile and everything I do, I always say that I strongly believe that communication is the foundation for everything. And if we want to be successful in whatever we want, we need to be good communicators, even in our personal lives. I would say even more in our personal lives. With that in mind, I was watching a video, a TED from Louis Vuitton, who is the guy who founded Duolingo. And I was curious because I love Duolingo. I love Duolingo. And I was just curious to see what was behind Duolingo, because I am really hooked in this app since 2013, more than 10 years, 12 years. So I was curious to hear his story. And then he said a few things that really got into me, into my heart, that his core was to make education accessible all over the globe, anywhere, anytime, 24/7. And that he wanted that people felt that it was fun to learn a language, because he tells his story about someone coming from a humble family, and then how learning English is from Guatemala, how learning English helped him, opened doors for him. And this thing, and also the fact that he said he wanted to create something that got people engaged in the app, and then he thought about gamification. So in this moment, listening to all of this, it was like this huge bulb in my head. And I said, that's what I want to do. And it started from there.
Okay. Well, one of the things when you're starting a company and you're working on an MVP, that a lot of times they want you to focus on a specific problem or a pain point. Can you share with us what is that problem that it solves for professionals, and why is it so relevant right now?
The problem is, as communication is the key. And the core of my work is with professionals at the executive level, or planning to get there. And the higher you go, the bigger the problems. And the core of their problems always are their communication. Once they learn how to express themselves, once they learn how to negotiate better, once they learn how to engage their team, everything is related to communication. They are able to build their career in the way they want, feel more fulfilled. And so I thought, how can I bring to them something accessible, that, because Victor, ourselves, we have to go to certain meetings sometimes that we don't have the time to prepare. And especially when you're in these high-level positions, most of the cases, you have lots of high-stakes meetings and presentations, and you don't have enough time, well, at least the time you wanted to prepare the way you wanted. So for me, it was, how can I build something that they have in their phone, because we have the phone all the time, that, let's say, while they have those 15 minutes, they can lock themselves and say, okay, this is the scope, this is the situation, this is what I want to achieve, this is the problem, and help me to get started and to have a guideline to go through this process. At least you have something that you can lie on to, even though you have in your phone, and you just go back, is your pinpoint. But it's not only, we are limited in our knowledge, and especially when we are under pressure, because our brain really shuts down. So if you have something that can collect all the information and is able to filter, analyze, and present to you in a concise way, logical and structured, that you can follow through, that I'm 100% will be such a bonus and such a relief for many people going through the situation. So this is why I believe it's super relevant.
Okay, excellent. And so how does SpeakProApp differ from traditional communication training and AI tools that are currently available?
Well, we can never, I don't want to compare in a way with the traditional training, in-person training, because, some of colleagues came to me, how come you are building something that will take the job away from us? And I said, no, I don't think so. I'm building something. I'm not killing myself. I'm building something to support us in our work as well. So the traditional communication training in terms of in-person, we are getting back to it after the pandemic. So companies are already requesting more that we are in person in the trainings. And I think that's wonderful, because nothing will replace our connection, our close connection with people. But the difference with the AI tools already available, because some people might think, oh, you have your ChatGPT, you can ask all the questions there. Why do I need an extra tool? It's because the tool is designed with a specific purpose. In a certain level that I will explain later, you would be able to customize it more for your own needs. But it has a structure, and it has been a huge research and thought behind, not only for myself as a communication expert, but other experts that are coming on board to deal with specific areas of high stakes situations. I want to focus more on high stakes situations. And the difference I see out there are many tools. And instead of feeling intimidated by them, I feel that that's wonderful, because means the market is there, the market needs, and gives me opportunity also to explore more. So the tools that I've seen so far, the ones that the apps I have researched and tried to use, and they are more focused on public speaking and presentations itself, more in the foundation. I am going a step ahead. Of course, there will be a part of the foundation in the tool itself, but I really want to tackle those particular professionals that I mentioned to you, those ones that are getting to those very difficult and high stakes conversations.
Okay. And can you kind of share a little bit more on what kind of professionals will benefit the most from SpeakProApp, and how does it transform their preparation for, as you've mentioned a few times, high stake moments?
Yes. Well, I would say everybody will benefit, but of course we have to target in a specific group. We cannot speak to everybody. In that case, I have in mind is exactly this profile that I mentioned to you. There are people that are in leading positions and they have to take decisions in a regular basis, or even deal with conflicts inside of their companies, and they do not have too much time. In fact, these are the people that I work with. So I can feel their pain. So I can understand when they say to me, I have this meeting and it's huge. There's a huge conflict. It's a lot at the table. It's a lot of money to win or lose. And I do need support. I need to have this mind space where I can concentrate in this, and then I can feel that I'm prepared. And I hope this app can be this mind space, because inside the app you will have your coach, you have your avatar that, as you know, with AI, it goes learning. So in a way, it goes learning about Victor, and it starts talking to Victor, interacting with Victor in a way that then you start building this relationship. And here I want to give a break. Is not to replace your coach, is not to replace your contact with the person, but is the tool that you have at your hand anytime that you feel more supported and confident to face something that you did not have enough time to prepare.
Okay, so really tools to support and complement what you already have, and to continue
Yes,
growing.
also, for example, I think one very good example, people go into interviews, right? What are the best questions I can ask? So then it can do the research about the company, everything inside and in your ChatGPT, throw in the app, and then let's have this brainstorm with your app, how to prepare for that particular interview. Things like that.
Okay, excellent. Can you share a little bit what it's like to use the app? Can you walk us through what using SpeakProApp is actually like? And for example, maybe as you referred to before, preparing for a last minute pitch or an unexpected request to speak, or even better, a negotiation.
We are right now in process of building. Okay, it's not finished yet, so I don't have the app here with me. However, I did an extensive research on what I want to build. And here comes my architecture mindset, because I have to think the big picture, and then I have to break it down to the minimum as possible so I can communicate that to the developer. And you also have to think that I am in the front end, the developers are in the back end. But for me, it was very similar as building, planning for a building where I envision that building, but then I have to talk to the engineers, to the guys that have to build it, to calculate everything. So the process was that. And I came with 3 main pillars. So the first pillar is the educational pillar, which is the entry point, and the user will be able, this is more like planned for the user. There is a very well thought process that the user will go through. It's not much as the user will customize at this level, because also this is going to be our free version. Okay, so the user gets into the tool and is going to learn foundations of communications, of negotiations, of presentations, etc. And because I'm bringing gamification to it as well, as the user goes learning and goes to process, and it goes getting some, let's put tokens, because we haven't defined yet what it is. So you get a number of tokens, and you have the opportunity to use those tokens to visit this imaginary city called SpeakProApp. So in SpeakProApp, you have different stages. You can then go to a Roman amphitheater, and there you will find a coach, a Roman philosopher, who is have a conversation with you and put a task, a challenge for you. Maybe you have to debate here in our city because we have this conflict and this is the situation. Go. And these will be the fun part of the process of learning, as you can end up in a comedy show, or you can end up in Lincoln Memorial, where you can create a like inspiration, I have a dream speech, things like that. So this is the first level. As it goes progressing, then we go to the next level, which will be more towards role playing. So we will then give as many as possible situations where the person could then select and play a role on that situation, where you can be the mediator, or you can be the client, or you can be that very obnoxious person in the meeting that you want to stop the other one. So we are still thinking about all the possibilities. And then the last level, the third pillar, would be where you can customize, where you'll be able to then give the scope of the situation of the meeting you're going through, or the presentation you have, and then you will be able to customize and have the role play there at a different level. So, and all of these are going to be built in stages. So right now we will focus on the first one, which is the educational part, which comes with the game. And the other ones will come after, when we are more developed and we see the usage feedback, and then we will decide the way to go. So it's very exciting. You can see my excitement can do.
Yeah, coming in. One of the things that you're fond of saying is the communication is the real currency in the era of AI. And so how does SpeakProApp help users strengthen that currency?
And first, I want to explain why I say the communication is the real currency in the AI era. When I started using ChatGPT seriously, like not just a research tool, but wanting to understand from a background of someone who is not technical, but someone who was curious about technology, I realized that in order to get my best response, I really needed to learn how to communicate with this tool. And last year, I gave a talk, a keynote called Conscious Communication, the AI Era. And in my research, I found an article in a German magazine, The Urology, and summarizing the article, there was one sentence that I took with me and really makes me to understand what I was looking for, which is AI is only as good as its user. Saying that, many people out there are still using the tool as for research, and because they do not know how to communicate with the tool, they do not get the good feedback they want. And you see people complaining, oh, this doesn't work. I don't get the best response. That was hallucinations, etc. So for you to be able to communicate, to get the best of the tool, you need to really work on your communication skills. So this is why for me, it became also, it was another light bulb, because I thought this technology will help us to go back to dialogues. Because since the advent of internet 2 decades ago or more, we got into the monologue type of living. We send emails, we post, we send audio messages, we don't call anybody anymore. So everything is, I give you a sentence and I do not have instant feedback. So this is also what is increasing the problem with people, professionals, when they have to go to those meetings, to those negotiations, to give those presentations, to give those talks, because then they have the people in front of them, and the people will not give them 5 minutes, 10 minutes to think before answering what they said. Is an immediate dialogue, is a ping pong. And you have to be attentive, you have to be present, otherwise it's not a dialogue. And nowadays we see many people communicate in the statement. I say something, you say something at the top of it. Nobody's really listening to each other. And when I started using this tool, ChatGPT, I realized that I need to be attentive here. I need to find ways that this tool understands me. And that is the core concept in communication. Because when you are talking to people, it's not that they have to understand you. You have to do your best for them to understand you. So this is why I believe that the communication is the real currency in this era, and we should take this as an opportunity to get back into dialogue.
Excellent. Okay, cool. And so there's a lot of technology involved. But technology in the end, we keep using the word tool, or it's at our disposal to help us do what we want to achieve. Beyond the technology, I sense that you're a big picture woman. You have a tremendous career behind you, and you have even more ahead of you. What is the bigger mission behind SpeakProApp?
The bigger mission is really inspired by the Duolingo guy. I have to say this. When he said that he wanted everybody, education to be accessible for everybody, everywhere, anywhere. And I always, as I said at the very beginning of our conversation, that I believe communication is the foundation for everything. For me, that's my big vision, that this tool becomes a support for everybody, anywhere around the globe, when they most need to face that difficult conversation and they feel lost, or they just say, okay, it's time now for me to prepare for my presentation, for my meeting, that they have this tool as a support. And that, I know, for me, in my own experience, Victor, that once I got into communication with Toastmasters, because people might wonder why an architect now works in communication. This is another story for another interview. But when I got into Toastmasters and I got into learning how to speak in public and then how to transfer this to leadership, it was really an eye-opener for me. And I thought, I just wished I had learned this on my 20s. My life would have been so much easier. I would have made so better decisions in my life for being able to express myself, to negotiate better my ideas, my needs, etc. So this is the big vision I have, because it's reaching everyone, but also because communication is a foundational tool, power, I would even say, that everybody, if everybody has access to it, they will be able to build a better life for themselves and for the ones around them.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's nice. That's a really good one. Wanted to ask you, you're currently in the process of raising some capital through a crowdfunding process, correct?
Yes.
All right. Can
Well,
you talk to us about the type and what the funding is specifically for?
okay. I want to give you a little bit of a brief of this crowdfunding. Is the first time I do something like this. It's my first experience in crowdfunding, and it comes from a project from Santander, but the Banco Santander from here is called Santander Explorer, and this program was for startups, and it was the last part of the program, the journey that lasts 1 year. So a year ago, I presented this idea for this startup program, and they selected the idea. And I must say that there was more than 3,000 applicants, and now we are only 20 people in the crowdfunding. So this makes me is a huge validation for me for the idea. But also because it's under Santander umbrella, we have to follow some restrictions, and our asking is very modest in a way, because the idea, I believe, is to give us as the learning process of it. And what I'm asking for these funds is for this first prototype with the basic functionalities, so I can go to the Web Summit in Lisbon in November, because again, the idea was also selected as a part of the Alpha program in the Web Summit. If your audience don't know what the Web Summit is one of the most important technological events globally, and it caters for more than 70,000 delegates. And I'll be there with my stand given by them because of this opportunity of being part of the Alpha program, the startups that are in the very early stages. So I want to have something that I can show to people when I have my conversation with them, because especially if it's something digital, as much as they explain verbally, it's important that they can taste it. So that is what this funding is for.
Can I ask you, is there anything that surprised you as part of this funding process? Anything that caught you off guard?
It is an experience, I have to tell you, because also it's kind of not everybody most comfort zone be out there asking for money, right? You're asking people to support your idea. It's kind of like you feel, oh my God, I have to have a hard face here to go there and say, please put money in my idea. And an idea, something that's not tangible yet. So this is one thing. But going through the process, because we received a mentorship, and a mentor with us explaining everything. So we have to build the whole platform, etc. But what surprised me, as everything in life, that all of a sudden you receive support from people that you never expected, right? Because in the end, here I say,
yes,
it's not only the amount of money that people give, it's the fact that they give something means a lot. It's a validation that they trust you. Right now is trusting me, not the product, because the product doesn't exist. So for me, that was the amazing part of this experience so far. We still have 1 week to go, a part of the stress and everything, because it comes with a little bit of the stress, of course.
All right, and then maybe a little bit more acute question then is, why is it important for people to support the campaign right now and at the stage that you're in?
Well, the importance is because, when you, especially startups, when you start something, the idea is big, especially in technology. We need a lot of money. So the startup, like we are asking for 3,000 euros as our goal, and 10,000 if, dreaming for that. and we are not there yet. And we know this money is symbolic, is really like it's going to cover the very, very, very basics. And that because I also have a good friend who has a company and has some developers, AI developers with her, and she said, I'm going to give you this support, putting one of the persons in my team to develop that for you. So what is important? I think the important thing is people, they need to see first, I need to communicate the importance of this. It's not like something that I'm doing for my own benefit. It's not something that I'm doing for me to get some stars and to say, oh, look how great she is. But it is something also for me to pass a message, especially for women over 50s who is not in technology, and to show them that if you believe something, you can do something. So there is all these aspects on it. And my asking for people is, your money, of course, is important for us to build something tangible, but more than the money is that every time you bet on us in the team, it's a huge like, how can I say, it's a gift. It's a huge gift you give to us in terms of saying, we trust you. We trust this idea. It can happen. It's because, of course, Victor, when we are doing something, we are a business people, entrepreneurs. We doubt ourselves many times. We say, and many times I was thinking, what am I doing? What am I putting myself into? Why can I not just slow down a little bit? But we are not like this. So that's it. So support us.
Okay. All righty. And if you could leave potential supporters, investors, crowdfunders, one message, very succinctly, what would that be?
Well, my message will be that communication is your key to success. Communication opens doors. Communication builds bridges. Communication make connections, collaborations, and really helps you to feel more confident. I think like communication is all about confidence. When you are able to communicate in the way that you believe it was aligned with what you want to say, even if the other person doesn't like, but you are also able to say, okay, Victor, I know my view is different, but here is how I feel about this. Here's what I think about this. And you're speaking from a place where you are very centered and you know that is coming from your core and you're okay with that. That is a huge boost in your confidence, in yourself, in your self-esteem. So this is why I believe if you have something close to you that can help you, this is not to replace who you are, but it's something that can help you to in those moments of doubt, in those moments of crisis, those moments where emotions are high. And we know when emotions are high, we do not think straight, that these two can be that support you need to overcome that moment. So then you can relax after and say, okay, now I'm going to go back and really study what I need to study about my communication skills.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It's always, inspiring to hear people doing something new, innovative, something that adds value to a huge target market, which is around the world. And it kind of goes in with what I've heard you say on a few occasions at different speaking competitions or in public forums, that not everybody needs to be a professional public speaker, but everybody should be able to speak professionally, or something about that. I may have messed that up a little bit, but it is important to be able to respond. And if you're in a position of leadership and you're going to be motivating others to follow your dream, follow your vision, particularly in the tough times, being able to effectively and eloquently articulate a thought and win them over is hugely important. And so what you're doing, I think, is very useful for the community and for entrepreneurs. And so I wanted to say thank you. And the last question I have is, how can people learn more about SpeakProApp and maybe collaborate with you?
There's a link I gave to you, Victor. I don't know where you can put this link and give to them. So,
yes.
Sorry. You can, we still have one more week. So please go push. And it's our last week. And then after that, we start, well, we have already started working on, and that is there also in the platform. When you click the link, there's all the information there. There's also a video explanatory, and there's my direct contact. You can talk to me directly if you still have questions, or maybe you want to collaborate on that further. You never know. I'm open.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much. Have a good luck with the campaign. And if there's something else that I can help you with, please let me know. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the community here?
First, I have to thank you again for this opportunity to talk to your community, which I much appreciate. I know all the hard work you do for this expat community and how amazing is your work with Metropolitan. I only have to thank you and tell your community that I'm here to serve if they need me.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much, Tulia, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you for being with us, and good luck.
Thank you. Bye.